Alright, this is going to be a response to Emma Watson's he for she speech. I'm going to have to break this up into a couple different parts because I can't upload long videos. Also, for the sake of brevity, I'm not going to address every single point, otherwise I'm going to start falling asleep. But I'm definitely going to address the crux of it. So let's start it right here.
Today, we are launching a campaign called He for She. I am reaching out to you because we need your help. We want to end gender inequality, and to do this, we need everyone involved.
Well, if you're really interested in ending gender inequality, maybe you might want to change the name He for She to something a little bit more balanced. Maybe us for us, all for all, something along those lines. I mean, that's just a given right there. He for she. What are you trying to pull here? Imagine your significant other came up to you and said, I want to end all inequality and imbalances in our relationship. And to do this, I want to start up a pact between the two of us. I call it you for me. What do you think about that? You like it? Let me ask you, would that sound reasonable to you? Or would you think that he was trying to pull a fast one?
I was appointed as Goodwill Ambassador for UN Women 6 months ago. And the more I've spoken about feminism, the more I have realised that fighting for women's rights has too often become synonymous with man-hating.
And why do you think that is? I'll give you a minute to ponder that thought.
If there is one thing I know for certain, it is that this has to stop.
Okay, now there's been some discrepancy over here as to whether you were implying that the man-hating within the feminist movement has to stop, or whether the fact that feminism's reputation has become synonymous with man-hating has to stop. From listening to the context in which all of this has been presented, it's pretty obvious that you're referring to the latter. Sounds to me like you're not in the least bit interested in stopping any of the actual man-hatred within the movement. You just want people to stop recognizing it. Well, that's not going to happen. And I think those days are slowly coming to an end. Have you ever been on Tumblr? You ever read all the countless feminist blogs that say shit like forever bathing in male tears? And I'll tell you what, just Google radical feminist quotes and go to town reading some of the shit said by some of these hateful bigots. Here's just a couple quick examples. I feel that man-hating is an honorable and viable political act, and that the oppressed have a right to class hatred against the class that is oppressing them. And that was from the lovely Robin Morgan. Now, not only was this sexist piece of crap just an editor over at Ms. Magazine, but she was the editor-in-chief for many years over there as well. Here's one more. I believe that women have a capacity for understanding and compassion which man structurally does not have. Does not have it because he cannot have it. He is just incapable of it. And that is from the ever-loving former Congresswoman Barbara Jordan. Now, this is about the point where most feminists will go and say, but not all feminists are like that. Those are just radicals or wingnuts out on the fringe. Well, when you look at the names of some of these individuals, pay attention to who they are and what their positions are. Because most of them were famous authors, popular magazine editors, gender studies professors, congresswomen, politicians, and so on. You know, so basically this bigotry was coming from very powerful and influential women. Hence, these ideas were not coming from the fringe, but from dead smack in feminism's epicenter. For decades now, powerful, influential feminists have been doing everything they can to expand the word rape to mean practically anything under the sun, including consensual sex with a woman who had a few drinks. They've been fighting to take away due process from those men who may have very well been falsely accused. They overinflate rape statistics. They dishonestly fudge stats all the time to fit their narrative. They've been lobbying to strip fathers of their paternal rights, and they've turned domestic violence and practically everything else for that matter into male as perpetrator and female as victim. Now, if you really want the negative stigma against feminism to go away, I'll tell you exactly what you could do. You and all the other good feminists, as some of you call it, can speak up against the bigoted, man-hating feminists out there, especially the ones that have been very active and unjustly rigging the deck against the entire male gender. But I know that you're just going to predictably respond to all of that by quoting the dictionary definition on how it's supposedly nothing but the belief that men and women should have equal rights and opportunities. So why don't you just go ahead and get it over with?
For the record, feminism, by definition, is the belief that men and women should have equal rights and opportunities. It is the theory of the political, economic, and social equality of the sexes.
No, it's not. Because if it was, feminism would also be addressing all the inequalities that men face as well. Like sentencing disparities, paternity fraud, false accusations, the workplace death rate, the fact that men get less federally funded health funding, the men's shorter lifespans, paternal custody issues, non-consensual male genital mutilation right here in the first world, our total lack of reproductive rights, and so on and so on. Oh, and for the record, any group that has to keep on referring to the dictionary to remind people of what their group is supposedly about is most likely not living up to what that dictionary actually says.
I started questioning gender-based assumptions a long time ago. When I was 8, I was confused at being called bossy because I wanted to direct the plays that we would put on for our parents.
Because I wanted to direct. Yeah, whoever called you bossy was right on the money.
But the boys were not.
Yeah, look, I'm sure that getting called bossy made you super upset and it felt horrible. The same way that a spoiled brat would get upset when they get called the spoiled brat. But hey, that's what adult figures are supposed to do. Call out the child's negative character traits in an effort to help better their development. I mean, what do you think would have happened to me if I marched up to the teacher and demanded that I be the director of our school plays? She would have told me to sit my bossy ass down and let her decide who's best for the job. Besides, you know who else thought you were bossy? The casting director of the Harry Potter films. It's no coincidence that you were the one that was cast to play the role of the bossy know-it-all little girl. You owe your entire success to the fact that your bossiness was recognized. You don't get to complain about it now.
When at 14, I started to be sexualized by certain elements of the media. When at 15, my girlfriends started dropping out of their beloved sports teams because they didn't want to appear muscly.
That doesn't make any sense. Do you have any idea how hard it is to achieve a muscly physique? I mean, I used to bust my ass in the gym 6 days a week, lifting as intense as I could to try to build and tone my muscles. And even I had a hard time getting results, and I'm a guy. I seriously doubt that that girls are getting a muscular figure from playing tennis, soccer, croquet, or whatever the hell sports you rich girls from Britain play. I'm guessing they most likely dropped out of the teams because they got lazy and grew bored of it. And instead of admitting that, it feels better to trick yourself into believing that you did it because of sexism. But hey, that's just my opinion.
When at 18, my male friends were unable to express their feelings, I decided that I was a feminist, and this seemed uncomplicated to me.
Well, men and women don't always express their feelings the same way. Just because men don't act like women doesn't mean that there's something wrong with them.
But my recent research has shown me that feminism has become an unpopular word. Women are choosing not to identify as feminists.
Are you trying to imply that women shouldn't be allowed to choose to not belong to a supposed gender equity movement that gives them supposed freedom of choice? Because if you did, that would be pretty hypocritical. Now, I'm going to have to end this right here. But if you would be so kind as to join me for part 2, where I will continue addressing the rest of her speech, and hopefully I will have that uploaded by tomorrow. Thank you.